trails and paths unknown, I journey deeper, feeling free to roam. A weight lifts off, burdens start to fade in serenity, where peace is made. Join us for the journey through the trees. Nature's song brings gentle ease amongst the rustling leaves. Join us for the journey through the trees. The rustling leaves, gentle breeze, they speak to me with such ease. In this sanctuary I'm whole and complete. In nature's embrace my soul finds its beat. Join us for the journey on the trail, where worries fade and spirits prevail. Amongst the towering peaks, a peace you'll know. Join us for the journey there, spirit grows. So let's wander on, with hearts light and free, embracing the adventure it's meant to be. In nature's sanctuary, we'll discover our truth on this journey of escape in the arms of our youth.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, let's do that. And there should be quite a lot to see this week because we're on the south bank coming into central London, so we're going to pass a lot of really interesting spots. You might be able to see ahead of you that there's the famous Shard, tallest skyscraper in London. It's probably only about 10 years old, and you can go to the top. There's an observation deck there that you can go and have an excellent look at central London. So let's give you a little bit of a recap. We've come from that direction, all the way from the Thames barrier, and we're heading westward. So we can see a lot of very industrial warehouse-looking residential buildings. And so we're going to go for a little bit of a walk. The aim today is to get as far as the London Eye, and that's going to take us through a lot of interesting things. If you're interested in London and its sights, today should be a really good one. You can see the Thames tide is out at the moment, and there are people scavenging for, I'm not quite sure what. No doubt there's lots of goodies at the bottom of the Thames that get washed up, and people making the most of them. I sincerely doubt that it's food. I can't imagine anyone wanting to be having any seafood from here. So here we go. We've got a let's have a look at this. Sunshine Weekly in the Pilgrim's Pocket, Friday the 29th of November 1991. Is that a literary reference? We've got Sunbeam Week. Let's have a look at this, so we might be able to find out some information. I'm not quite sure I'm going to be able to get a great shot of that. Cumberland Wharf is the approximate site from which the Mayflower set sail. So this is the beginning of the US of A. the ill-fated Mayflower. Things didn't go too well for them, but I think it turned out all right. The Americans are doing all right these days, so I don't think we need to worry about them. Okay, so let's have another look at what we've got coming up. We do have to step away from the Thames just briefly, but we're going to, you can see that the river sort of curves around to the right there, and we're going to follow as closely as we can that river. So it's a bit gloomy here in London today, but it's dry and it's not too windy, so those things make it okay for showing you the Thames Path. As promised, the Brunel Museum, we will pass that, but we won't be going in. Okay, welcome on Twitch and Facebook, people. We're just walking through a little alleyway. We're going to try and get back on the Thames so that you can see the river and the view will open up a bit. As interesting as some of these warehouse buildings that have been converted into residential houses are, I've always quite fancied living in a warehouse conversion. That appeals to me. As long as it stays warm in the winter. One of the things that does strike me about living in a warehouse is I imagine it's, unless you've put a lot of work into insulation and planning your heating, it could get pretty cold at certain times of the year. The weather forecast was promising temperatures above 10 degrees centigrade. I'm not quite sure what that is in Fahrenheit, if we have any American people on. But 10 degrees, if you go with the adage that 30's hot, 20's nice, 10 is cool, 0's ice, then 10 degrees, 15 degrees, it should be in between cool and nice. So sort of nice. So we're passing a church here. What is this? Not quite sure what this church is. Francis Theodore Ray and Eleanor Gordon. Hay, not Ray. It looks pretty shut up. Let's keep going. So it'd be really nice if we got to the London Eye today. I'm hoping that's how things work out. I've been on the London Eye. I took my dear mama when she came over to this part of the world one year, and I think she didn't want to seem unappreciative, so I asked her at the end. I said, "Oh, how did you like that?" "Oh, yes, thank you, Andy. Yes, that's wonderful. Thank you. You're a good son." And I didn't think much of it. We didn't see much, and to seem unappreciative, but yeah, it was it wasn't amazing. Maybe we picked the wrong day. Maybe on a nice clear day, that going on the London Eye is worth it. And it also for me comes down to this idea of claustrophobia, of being stuck in this pod, knowing that you can't get off until you get down to the bottom. So I'm Sorry, you're going to hear a little bit, you'll probably be hearing a little bit of wind noise here. We're still working on our sort of sound protection, trying to get as good sound as we can on the outdoors, but it's all bearing with us. I'd really like to, I'm not sure I can go through there. I'm trying to avoid going down dead ends, but I really would like to get back onto the waterfront if I can, so you have my assurance that, okay, so let's have a look at this sign. That's a reassuring sign. Thames Path, excellent, right, we're back on track. Let's have a look at this. What have we got? Rotherhithe Station and Village, Cherry Garden, Thames Path in both directions with the famous acorn symbol. I wonder why they chose the acorn. Right, let's look at this Uber ferry. Oh, here we go, our first glimpse of Tower Bridge. There we go. So there you go, there's the famous Tower Bridge with a couple of ferries there. So we've got a few famous buildings there. We've got, if you see a sort of obelisk shaped building, that's called, there's actually two buildings with basically that shape, and that's the Gherkin. And then if you see one that with a weird sort of curved, sort of protruding top, that's been given the name Walkie Talkie. You can't see it, but in the middle of the Gherkin and the Walkie Talkie, there is actually the cheese grater. Fantastic. Thank you for sharing this on Facebook, people. We really appreciate it. And if people like this content, then well, I'm hoping that we can bring more people along for the ride every week. And then over the other side of the building, we have the Shard, the tallest skyscraper in London. Although, as far as I'm aware, by world standards, it ain't no great shakes. So we'll have a bit of a walk through here. Oh, okay, cool. Okay. Right, so let's keep walking.
In 1985, Jennifer Rush spent 5 weeks at #1 with which song?
It's not quite as nice as it was last week when we were out. We had a bit of sunshine last week. I don't think we're going to see much sun today. But it's cool and it's not raining, so that's all right. I think it looks to me like the tide is coming in. If you look back there, I'm not quite sure whether you'll be able to see them, but there are people picking away at the rocks by the shore, trying to find something. As we go up here, you'll get plenty of views of Tower Bridge, but this is probably not a bad one because you get to see it sort of lengthwise. As we get closer, I suspect it'll be hard to fit it in one shot, and you'll be looking particularly at one end rather than in its entirety. So, famous Tower Bridge. Let's have another. If anyone watching on any of the social platforms has any questions, feel free to ask them and they will be sent through to me, and I can try to answer any questions that you might have. Okay. There's lots of
Speak to me.
signs saying CCTV in operation. Whether it's true or not, there is apparently Britain is the most watched country in the world. That there's more CCTV cameras per capita than anywhere else in the world. So wherever you go in London, there's bound to be someone sitting in a box somewhere watching everything that you're doing. Which it depends which side you come down on that debate, whether you think that is a bit big brother-ish, or whether you like the idea because it means that you know, you're being looked after, people are making sure that you're safe. I think all in all, London's a pretty safe city. I don't think we've got. I certainly, well, I'm a 6'2" man, so perhaps that might have some reason why I don't feel vulnerable. Okay, we're getting a little bit closer to some of these big buildings. So if you look at this, oh, so what have we got here? Nadia, thank you for liking the video, and thank you for tuning in. So here we go. So I suspect that's the bit that people will be most interested in. And the Tower Bridge is really our first highlight for today. I sort of have bypassed the Brunel Museum. And let's have a look at this sign just so that okay, so let's. Thank you, Nadia, appreciate that, yes. Yes, welcome to our virtual hike. So that's what we're doing here, ladies and gentlemen. That's the whole idea of live streaming this, is that you can feel more a part of it. As I keep on saying, there's no shortage of very, very high quality hiking and outdoorsy media out there. We're not necessarily looking to match the production values, but what we want is to add that immediacy by live streaming and allowing people to take part. So if you have questions or comments or feedback, then you know, please get involved. And also, if you want to take a post that looks interesting and you feel like you want to go back and have a look, we will do it. So we're going to be not too far away from here this Sunday. So coming up this Sunday is St. Patrick's Day. And so we will be in central London, over the other side of the river, watching the St. Patrick's Day parade. And I've never been to the St. Patrick's Day parade. I've lived in London for about 15 years, and never have I been to the parade. So I think it'll be quite interesting. And I think, what do you call? There must be an official name for people who are obsessed with Irish culture. I'm sure there's an official term. I don't want to insult the Irish by calling it paddy files. That's oof. Yeah, okay, I hadn't realised. Yes, how that word quite sounds. All right. Just erase that from your memory. That was an unintentional double entendre. Okay, so there's some new construction going on here. I wonder what it's going to be. So another sweeping shot, there we go. We've got Tower Bridge, let's go the other way around. So that's where we're heading. Oh, and you can see the dome of St Paul's Cathedral in the middle of those arches. So if we go through back here, this is not a bad view because we actually get to see a few bends in the river. It sort of wraps around to the left and then wraps back around to the right. It's a winding river, the Thames. So we'll see if we can get to the London Eye today. So the highlights of today will be London Tower Bridge, which you've seen in the distance there. We'll get a bit closer to that. Although I suspect the view that you're getting at the moment is probably going to be even better than the one that you'll get when we get closer, but I'll keep showing it as we get closer to it. Then next on the list we've got Tower Bridge. So no, the next on the list is London Bridge, and London Bridge, although it bears the name of London, isn't particularly ornate. But you'll get to see it, and we're going to pass Tate Modern Gallery, which is, I believe, some kind of power depot. It's something that used to be a power depot and is now the modern gallery. And the wonderful thing about London is a lot of the museums and galleries are free for people to go and visit, which is a great thing. In this world where there's no such thing as a free lunch. In London, most of the big museums and galleries are free for people for general admittance. They'll occasionally have special exhibitions where they'll want to charge you more, but for the main sort of main exhibition, they're free. So you've got things like the Tate galleries, the Natural History Museum, the V&A, Victoria and Albert Museum. All of these are free to enter, and they're worthwhile. They're great. They do a great job. And I think that they rely on public donations and wealthy benefactors to keep them alive, and it's an amazing thing that they managed to do that. Of course, the things like the Natural History Museum and the Science Museum, really good for kids. Lots of stuff for adults as well, but particularly interesting stuff for kids to get their minds, interested in science and history and all that stuff in a sort of interactive format, which is great. Okay, so we've got some viewers on Twitch. Welcome, and I hope you're enjoying this walk through the South Bank of London, and we're going to take in Tower Bridge and London Bridge and the Tate Modern Gallery, and then finally the London Eye, the big wheel with the little pods in it where you can go around it. Very, very slow Ferris wheel. So we'll see that, and then I think that's probably where we'll leave it, and then we'll pick it up, and I don't know, next week we'll probably try and get to Putney. So I'll try and get back onto the onto the Thames as soon as I can. We've got a sign up here saying Thames Path, so it is directing us back. The signage isn't bad. I can remember doing this a couple of years ago and finding that the paths were, that the signage was a little bit sparse and unreliable. But this isn't too bad. I think one of the added complications for this is that, as you can see, there's a lot of building work going on, and so I think quite often there'll be situations where part of the Thames Path is shut off for construction and they have to make constant detours. So we're just going to have to get used to that as we go along the Thames Path. So this is a series, so every Wednesday we're going to be walking along the Thames Path. So at the moment we're in central London. We started off at the Thames Barrier, which is a sort of a flood defence system for London. And we're going to walk to the source of the Thames, which is, I keep on saying 260 miles. It's quite a long one. I should find out the exact length of the Thames Path. But I haven't walked the entire length. I've done this section before, and then sort of lost the momentum. But I'm hoping, if we have other people who are interested in following the Thames Path, especially those people who are interested in the more country aspects of England, that they'll be interested in those more in those quieter, greener areas. But I imagine that, you know, central London in a different way has its appeals as well. And so for those people looking to visit London, we can give you a little first-person glimpse. And if we pass anything, like I keep saying, if we pass anything that you want to take a look at, please put a message through, and I'll get that message, and we'll do our best to oblige. Also answering any questions. I think by no measure am I a history or English culture expert, but I have learned a couple of things in the 15 years that I've been here. So let's take another look at this. Thank you for sharing on Facebook. That's really great. I appreciate it, to getting the word out. So there you go. There's all the tide's well out. All these barges with one with lots of bicycles on it. I wonder where that's come from. And then if we look through here, and then Canary Wharf in the distance there. So we've got a better view now of the Gherkin, the cheese grater, the walkie-talkie, which is behind the right tower of Tower Bridge. And we'll keep on walking. I think we'll be up at Tower Bridge in the next 5 minutes, which will be good. And at that stage also, the South Bank opens up again and becomes more consistently pedestrianised. So I think we'll find that we're taking less detours and having to wind around back streets, because as you get further into central London, that unobstructed view of the Thames in a walking area becomes a more a protected sort of matter. So that's nice for us. Not that winding through these little alleyways with sort of warehouse places isn't interesting as well. Riverside Walk, St Saviour's Dock Bridge. Harpy Boathouse. 1904 HMS Harpy. I don't think it's going anywhere today. See here how far the tide is out. If we look through here at certain times of day when the tide is in, this will be full of water. I can remember doing a walking tour through London. I think when I first moved here, I went on a few walking tours, and we were walking around here. They have all kinds of interesting walking tours of London, as you would imagine, it being a very old city with a lot of history and a lot of different things. A lot of them are sort of, you get the inevitable sort of ghosts and ghouls and, you know, spooky nighttime walks, which appeals to some people. You've got some that are more historical. I remember going on a Great Fire of London walking tour. So we were walking around central London and sort of focused mostly on, we started at Pudding Lane where the Great Fire of London started. Was it 1666, the Great Fire of London? Or am I just, have I got that date wrong? Okay, here we go. Here's a good view of Tower Bridge. I'll stop so that you can have a more steady shot, because it might be jumping around a little bit. So, and you can see cars crossing. So there's not, these bridges are not toll bridges. You don't have to pay a specific amount of money to cross them. But this is, being in central London, is part of the congestion zone. So any vehicle driving in this part of London, apart from those who are exempt for, you know, emergency vehicles and that type of thing, I think they have to pay around £20 a day. I think it's that much. It's not cheap. So that has a couple of effects. I think it means that, well, the people who can afford to live here can probably afford to pay £20 a day. And it discourages people from driving and to get on public transport, which is a great thing. So let's have a. This is Tower Bridge. Yes. So this is Tower Bridge. So there's two towers there, and you can go. Yeah, that's right. Yes, it really does exist. So yes, if you've ever thought about coming to London and looked at brochures or websites or anything like that, you're almost certain to have seen Tower Bridge included. And so there it is in real life. And Canary Wharf, that featured quite prominently in the first couple of days of this walk. You can still see that in the distance. That's the financial district of London. So this is Tower Bridge. Let's keep moving. Oh, I just felt a speck of rain. I hope that's not the start of something. You can see over there, there's a Royal Navy, something labelled the Royal Navy, HMS President. There's no actual boats there at the moment, but it seems like a strange place to have a naval, I don't know, base, or it's a base seems like, it's not a base, building, outpost. So there's a big anchor. So if you imagine that's the size of the anchor, it'd have to be a pretty big boat, wouldn't it? That's why sailors have got big muscles. Imagine having to winch that up. There's a propeller from a boat. And then inevitably along, you know, any waterfront, you're going to have a huge selection of very salubrious and yummy restaurants. Oh, a couple of, there's a couple getting married. Oh, they look amazing in a pink dress. Okay. Oh. Got going on down here. I think the tide's coming in. It's certainly, the tide, it looks a bit higher than it did than an hour or so ago. I'll try and give you as many different angles of Tower Bridge as I can, so that you don't feel like you're missing out on that. What are we doing here?
Oh, they are wearing glasses.
Okay.
All these sites
Okay. Yeah. As that woman was saying, there are lots of sights to see, and so we're going to try and let you see as many of them as you can. Of course, there's nothing like coming here in real life. I don't think this is going to be a replacement, but it may be an hors d'oeuvre to whet your appetite. Yeah, fantastic. Yep, so okay, we're going to be walking underneath one of the arches of Tower Bridge now. So let me just give you a look at so there's a nice, so you can see from there, I think you can walk up to the top of one of those towers. They sort of open up and you can sort of go to the top. I'm not sure what's inside. Yeah, so we're going to go underneath Tower Bridge now. And on the other side, we're going to see the London City Council headquarters in another sort of obelisk-y shaped building. Back onto the waterfront. Oh, and we'll give you a view of Tower Bridge from the other side. Okay. There we go. So that's starting there. And there it is, there's Tower Bridge. And there's sort of like a bunch of tall buildings all in one spot. Oh, now there are towers there, but the reason why this is called Tower Bridge is because over the other side there you've got the Tower of London, which was the sort of dungeon, the prison. It's also, I believe, still the safe house for the Crown Jewels. So I think somewhere in there are the official crown jewels. That's where they're stored. So it's heavily fortified. I believe that the security has been updated in the last few hundred years. And so we'll keep walking. Oh, there's a, I knew that there was an old Navy boat. So right in front of us there, a funny sort of wonky ball-shaped building. That is the offices of the London City Council. It looks a bit dirty. I think that needs a clean. I don't think that's had its windows cleaned for a while. It's sort of. Okay. So, as expected, we're going to be encountering a lot more people. It'll be a lot more touristy. And it's popular with locals as well because, you know, it's got lots of yummy places to eat and drink and socialise. So, with tourists and locals alike, this is a pretty popular spot. I'll often arrange to meet friends. In fact, Nadia, if you're watching this, I do believe that we have ridden Boris bikes around this part of London before. It was a few years ago now, but maybe it's time to get back on the bikes because it was a good day out. That. Okay.
No, dovrebbe vedersi Milano invece.
Okay, and between, you can see that pointy building there, there's the Shard. That's the tallest skyscraper in London. So here we go, we'll come up to the HMS Belfast, a decommissioned Navy boat that's been moored in this spot for a few years. So let's see what we got. Let's see the. Thank you, Nadia. Virtual hiking with you today. Yes, I'm glad to have you along, as always. Okay, so let's have another look at this. So let's. No one has asked about the film. Well, actually, some people have approached me. I think a couple of weeks ago, we passed some people who said, oh, you know, he looked very enthusiastic and fascinated and was asking what I was doing. You can't actually see it in the shot, and that's by design, but I have probably a fairly, what would appear to be a fairly unusual contraption sort of strapped to the front of me, with one camera facing forward and the other one facing me so that you can see me talking. I think I probably look a little bit odd, but I think also in London people get used to seeing odd people. So no one looks. I mean, I think some people are just generally camera shy, so they're not interested in. They look fairly suspicious because anyone pointing a camera in their direction, some people it'll make them feel uncomfortable. So that's an unavoidable collateral damage, I'm afraid. I don't want to make anyone feel uncomfortable, but at the same time, I can't really avoid it. So London's warship experience. So you can actually go on the HMS Belfast and have a look. I would say one of the downsides is it was decommissioned a couple of years ago, so I don't think you're exactly looking at modern warfare when you go on the HMS Belfast. You're looking at how they used to do things in a past era. Let's have a bit of a look at this. Oh, so it was from the Second World War. So Belfast launched in 1938, fought in the Arctic, fired some of the first shots on D-Day, and has seen major action during the Korean War. So, so that gives you an indication of its age. If it's been around since the Second World War, okay. Let's have a bit of a look at this. I wonder if all of those levels are accessible on the tour, because you've got sort of the engine houses, and I suspect you can only go on certain levels. I'd be most interested in going down to the bottom and seeing where, you know, what the levels that make everything work. Okay.
That's probably parents like you who volunteer.
Yeah, good. Okay, all right. Pleased to hear it. So, okay. I think we'll let these kids go past rather than try and overtake them. So we'll take it'll only be a couple of minutes. I'll just let those kids get through that little alleyway so that we can leave them out of the live stream. Coming up there, you've got a view of the wonderful London Bridge. Isn't it magnificent? It's a concrete monstrosity. If you compare it to Tower Bridge over there, you can see why people prefer one to the other. What's that? Okay. Yep, those kids are gone. Let's go through them. So a lot of, a bit like with last week, I think you'll notice that we're passing a lot of pubs. The Brits love their pubs. So I think unlike a lot of other places in the world, the pubs are a bit of a communal centre. They're more than just a place to have a drink. They're sort of a meeting point for a lot of communities, especially country communities, where people will go, if you live sort of in an isolated area, people will go to a pub to meet up with people and have a bit of social interaction. And that, after all, pub is a shortened version of public house, so it makes sense that that the public, it's a house for the public to go and feel at home in. Very different from what Americans describe as a bar. I think you do have pubs in the States and in other parts of the world, but a lot of them tend to be Irish-themed pubs that try to recreate that atmosphere. They're very different things. They're very, very different things, a pub and a bar. So, right, let's try and get past these. Okay, I'm going to show my ignorance here. I'm pretty sure that these animals riding moped are, do you think there's a literary reference? Is there a story, a children's storybook? There's a rabbit, a dog, and a horse. Okay, so let's have a look. We might have a look. Oh, I think someone's going to write. We might have the grey zebra. It is, yeah. So. Okay. Something to point out. So we've got London Bridge there, and you can see behind that there's St Paul's Cathedral, the dome of St Paul's Cathedral. Sir Christopher Wren. Excellent, good. Yeah, so, all right, so here we go.
We're going into the
All right, so. I think we're going to have to go up here. I don't think we can go underneath London Bridge here. So we're going to have to go up these steps, and we'll probably go up to street level. For what it's worth, I'll give you a closer look at London Bridge. And if you needed proof, you should be able to read London Bridge inscribed on the underside there. So it's a road bridge, road and pedestrian, but no trains. But as you can see, the next bridge, which I think is Blackfriars Bridge. But I could be wrong. Okay, so let's go up here. I wonder if there's a mnemonic for remembering the order of London bridges. If there is, I don't know it. I could do with learning it actually, and then I'd be a much better tour guide if I actually knew what I was talking about. Okay, so let's have a look. Thames Path. So London Bridge, apart from it's a huge train station, one of the main train stations in London, and it's also where one of the main markets, London Bridge Market, is. And we'll be walking through there. We'll be walking through the markets, and they should be active. There should be some stuff going on. We might have to resist the urge to cross somewhere where I'm not supposed to. We'll use the pedestrian crossing just so that I can lead a good example if there's any children watching. Okay. There we go. This is getting a bit busier. Yes, so we really are in the thick of it now. We're in very much central London, so it might get noisy and a bit chaotic for a bit. All these good people who are waiting for. Could I? Okay. Why? Okay, I think we have to go further down this way from memory. These fin glaciers. Let's have a look. You know what I'm going to do? I think I was telling you just how wonderfully safe London is. But I am tempted to grab my valuables out of the back here and put them in my pocket because I don't know. I think there's a camera facing me, and so perhaps you guys would let me know if you saw anyone dipping their hands into my bag. But I think with the delay of the live stream, it might be too late and people might be off it. And in these busy sort of environments, people are do make the most of it. There are pickpocket gangs, so I think you need to be careful everywhere. So I'd rather have everything I'm not prepared to lose in my front pocket, where people are not going to be able to go into that without me knowing. So, okay. Ooh, it's a bit of a rocky shot. Okay, here we go. We're going to go through London Bridge markets now. I can already smell all kinds of exotic food being cooked. So this will be, let's have a look at this old church here. Okay, we're going to go down and we will. Oh yeah. I did have breakfast. I did eat it an hour ago, but I am the type of person who always feels like they could fit more in. So people eating paella. Oh, look at that. Oh, that looks all right. That looks all right. And some sangria. I'm detecting a Spanish theme, and why not? I'm off to Spain in the middle of April, and I will be doing a live stream from Valencia at that stage. And so a bit of a coastal walk. We'll have to stick close to the city so that we can get a good signal, but
to clear my troubled mind. Join us for the journey through the wild, where
okay. Coffee, yummy. Okay. Do you want me to? I'll see if we can go down this way. This is Southwark Cathedral. See if we can. I think I've had enough coffee. Okay, so are we online, Ronald? It should be better. I think we're probably, because we went undercover, and also there's a lot of people using their mobile phones, so I think it was probably just a little bit of network congestion going on there. Are we back online now, Ronald? Ronald, speak to me. Okay, great, thank you. Oh wow, there's a huge delay. Sorry about. Right, okay. Okay, great. Yeah, okay. Right, okay, let's run across here. Yes, we've got quite a long delay between me seeing things and them going out on OBS. Yeah, so there's a long delay, Ronald. It's longer than normal. I'm not quite sure why that's happening. Okay, so St Mary's Ovaries Dock. Let's have a look at this boat. What's this? Oak Stump plays a small part in big changes taking place in the Golden Hind. Expert of shipwrights for retrofitting. So let's have a look at this. The Golden Hind. That's a really long delay. I can hear myself. There's about 30 seconds delay. I'm not quite sure why that's happening. Okay, so we've got the.
This is something one of my running books. If I ever run.
Yeah, I think possibly there's a delay that we've set. There's a long delay somewhere set up either in the Bella box or in OBS. But I'm hearing you. I'm hearing it come back to me about 30 seconds after it actually happens. Okay, so this has sort of been excavated, an old Roman ruin. I think this was actually the base of a church that was here. Let's try and find some information so that I believe it's a church. It's a cross. So usually that means the Great Hall. Okay. Remains of the Palace of Powerful Bishop of Winchester, one of the largest and most important buildings in medieval London. Winchester Palace Garden. Okay. So we do have coming up here is a sort of a wine, I think it's called Vinopolis. It's a little bit of a wine tasting type. I mean, it's not a vineyard. Funny, there's obviously no vines around here, but I think it's sort of a place for people to sample exotic wines, and they do functions there. And my cousin, who married a local, before. So, real ales. Why? We should have excellent in central London. Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. I'm not quite sure what. So this is Southwark Bridge. There's Southwark Bridge ahead of us. Okay, so good. So there are people scavenging for stuff. I wonder what they're looking for. If they've found anything. Okay. Can you see St Paul's Cathedral, the big dome behind there? So let's keep walking along here. Ronald, give me an update. Tell me how many viewers we've got, whether people are watching us. Oh, a couple of weeks ago, I was telling you about the Millennium in the year 2000, and had some problems when people were walking across it in lockstep, and the whole bridge was swaying. Okay. Okay, so welcome to everyone who is watching us on Twitch and Facebook and YouTube, and I hope that you're enjoying this. So we're going to be walking along the Thames Path a little bit further every week, and so in next week we should be walking from London Eye to Putney. So we'll hopefully get to the London Eye today, the big sort of Ferris wheel. I want to say that happened in 2000 as well. I think, was it just London, or was it every city in the world that decided that there was going to be a whole lot of stuff happening for the millennium? It could be that the London Eye came along a few years later. Actually, I may not be giving you good information there. So we're coming up here to, you can see a ferry stop for one of these water taxis, and then right in front of us you've got the Millennium Bridge, and so we'll have a bit of a look at that, and you can see people walking across it.
It's a school.
So excellent. Okay. Okay, so there's the Millennium Bridge. Everything looks a little bit grey today. Oh, Shakespeare's Globe. Shakespeare's Globe. So the Globe Theatre, that has been a theatre in London for hundreds and hundreds of years. So let's have a bit of a look at that. I have watched a performance in there. I can't remember what I watched. I think it was definitely a Shakespeare play, but it was one of his lesser known or less famous ones. And it's one of these places where you stand and watch. You don't get to sit down. I think they do have stalls where you can sit down, but most people watch it from a standing position.
Because they did the smelly job and didn't pay well. So what would you think of Fishmonger and Sparrow?
Okay. Oh, okay.
It wasn't every band,
They're
but
both
some
quite
men
high.
would.
Okay. What I might do
One.
So I might just, okay. I'm going to carry this a bit. We've got some vents in the back of the pack that will help us to keep the equipment cool. And because I've got this other bag that was covering it, our encoders were getting a bit too warm. So I'm going to carry the bag for a bit so that we can try and get some air circulating in there to get them cooled down a bit. Okay, we want to try and stay on the southern side of the Thames, so we won't, but you can see it there. And this was the one when I opened, they could see it visibly swaying as people walked across it, and I think the swaying motion only exacerbated people walking in lockstep, which had a sort of a vicious cycle back and made the effect even worse. So they closed it, and I don't think it took them very long to figure out what they needed to do to put the appropriate supports in so that it wouldn't do that. Oh, okay, so here we go. So let's have a look here. This is the Tate Modern Gallery. Free and open to all. So at the moment we've got expressionists, Yayoi Kusama, we've got a Yoko Ono exhibit. Capturing the moment, we've got Bacon, Freud, Hockney, Lang, Lawler, Neil, Picasso, Rego and Warhol, Andy Warhol. Okay, so, and El Anatsu. So lots of interesting stuff for those people who are interested in modern art. There's another Tate gallery that does more of the older stuff, but the Tate Modern tries to it will show you the more modern artwork, which I'm not quite sure. I think there's some old art that I like, but a lot of the new art is interesting. Okay, great. Yes, thank you to our loyal viewers on Twitch. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope you're enjoying this. If you've got any comments or questions, please put them through into the comments, and also please like and share and all of that good stuff so that we can get the word out. This is a fairly new venture, and so what we're trying to do is to come up with the idea of live stream hikes so that people can experience hiking in a more immediate format and be involved. So if you see something that you want to take a closer look at, I'm here to make that happen. Okay. Okay. Yeah, that's good to know. Okay, so I think taking this bag off has helped a little bit. It's still pretty. I need to come up with a better means of carrying everything I need, because I've got this harness that will collapse. So I've sort of made it so that I can pull it apart and fit it in a bag. But it won't quite fit into the back of the bag with all of the encoders and power banks. So I have to have two bags, which gave me an extra bag, which you can see here. and I thought I could just latch it sort of an additional bag on the back. I've got a fan attachment. We've got sort of 2 vents at the back of this bag. Okay, let's have a look. Hey Marco, thank you for your comment. Yeah, London is very, very beautiful, especially if you're interested in sort of history and a lot of, you know, old stuff. I think it's it's an aspect of London and Europe in general that a lot of other countries in the world don't seem to have in terms of sort of old architecture and that type of thing. So London's very, of course this extends to the rest of Europe as well. You'll find amazing sort of things, well, obviously very amazing things in Greece and Italy and other ancient civilizations like that with amazing sort of architecture that survives to this day. But London, yeah, London's great. So I tell you, I mean, I would be super pleased if anyone watching this sort of got enough of an idea and enough interest in London to actually come and visit. And if you come over, we could go on a walk together. You could help me finish off this Thames walk. Oh, that is certainly an invitation for anyone watching this who might be able to get to London. I would love to have company on these walks and to engage and to learn more about the people watching. But I realise it's a difficult one for a lot of people because it ain't easy just to... Oh, okay. It's a photo of... So there you go, there you can see London, the London Eye, which is where we're heading. So we're going to... Okay, so let's have a look at some of these murals. There's a depiction of London in a bygone era, and you can see St Paul's Cathedral and Blackfriars Bridge. Oh, they're calling it Blackfriars New Bridge. Well, I guess maybe in 1869 it was new. I think they've dropped the new. I wonder at what stage will New York just become New York.
To clear my trouble.
Okay, so welcome back to our walk in central London along the Thames Path. We're getting towards the end. Here's Blackfriars Bridge. And Blackfriars Bridge actually looks quite spectacular at night. It's sort of all lit up. And I think when it looks like it could use a new lick of paint, but I think when it's been freshly painted and they have the lights on and it's sort of lit up, it looks quite nice. In fact, I think I've got an image of Blackfriars Bridge as a desktop background on my computer. I have one of these revolving desktop backgrounds of various cityscapes, and I think I know Blackfriars Bridge is one of them, and it looks quite nice in that image. So let me give you a little bit of another sort of panoramic sweeping shot, although So you can see the big skyscrapers of London, St Paul's Cathedral, Blackfriars Bridge.
Just like remembering everything because we basically put together in the deck in 15 minutes.
Stuff. Okay. Thank you to our viewers. I hope you're enjoying this virtual walk in central London. We've still got a few more weeks every Wednesday of doing this, going along the Thames Path. And then eventually we'll sort of head out of central London. We'll get a bit more countryside. We'll follow it all the way to the source of the Thames. It's going to take us a little while because it's a good distance, and with me taking a leisurely pace, I'm not covering the distance. They sort of have a recommended itinerary of around about 10 miles a day. We're not quite doing that because I'm trying to take my time and take in as many sites as possible. So we're not going to make that kind of time. We'll get to the end whenever we get to the end, and we'll go at our own pace. But that will be pretty much every Wednesday. Occasionally I may be out of London, and so we won't be able to carry on with the Thames Path, and I'll let you know about that. We'll try and keep people updated in our live stream calendar. But most Wednesdays. And excuse me, if we're not on the Thames Path, if I'm out of town and I'm somewhere else, I'll do my best to live stream from wherever I am, because there's a few things coming up over the next few weeks that are worth sharing with people if you're interested. So for the next couple of weeks we'll be on the Thames Path. You can rely on that, and then there will be a Wednesday where I am on the Shetland Islands. So in the first week of April, first Wednesday in April, I'll be in Lerwick in the Shetland Isles, far north of Scotland. So we'll have some fairly coastal, fairly rugged, wild countryside up there. I wonder whether the weather will be on our side in terms of being able to share that with people. So that's a little bit of information for you. Burney Spain Gardens. So that's where we are. It gives us a little bit of a clue about where all the nearest tube spots are, which is a useful thing to know. So we're going to be coming up to the National Theatre in just a moment, which, thank you for sharing on Facebook. Really pleased to have people share this with people who they think might enjoy it. So keep that up. We really do appreciate it if you're doing that. So we're going to be coming up to the National Theatre. So it did have a bit of a reputation for being, and I would tend to agree, it's a sort of a rather imposing, unfriendly looking building, which you'll see in about 5 minutes when we pass it. So it's had its fair share of criticism, but there is, I think that's where the Odeon, not the Odeon, the IMAX music, the IMAX is either in that building or nearby. And then underneath the National Theatre has sort of become a unofficial skate park. So back in my past, I was a bit of a skateboarder, never particularly good, but still interested enough and sort of fond enough of skateboarding to sort of appreciate the fact that there's the next generation is using this much maligned building for their leisure interests. Queen's Walk. A lovely old lamp. Okay, so we're coming up to the National Theatre here. You can have, everyone's entitled to their own opinion. So I did go, the last time I was inside the National Theatre was for a TED Talk. I wasn't talking at this TED Talk, I was very much an observer, but there was a sort of a TED Talk focused on the IT sector, which is my day job. So I went along to that just to find out a little bit more about the hottest things in tech and get to hear people speak on matters related to new technologies. So this is the National Theatre. It's I think you'll agree, it's not pretty. It might be functional. Perhaps that's the idea. It's not there to look good, it's there to... Although you would think with it being a theatre and being involved in art, I would have thought aesthetics and beauty were, would be important, but there's the National Theatre. So, going to come up underneath this bridge here. I think this is where we'll find some skaters. Pretty much always there. So BFI, right, so this is where the BFI is, the British Film Institute, so this is where your IMAX is. And so they've got a London LGBTQIA plus film festival coming up. I think it might have started, 13th, I think that's today, isn't it? You want some books? I've been here in the past, I've had a bit of a browse, never sort of found anything that particularly tickled my fancy, but so the Queen Elizabeth Purcell room, I think that's the IMAX. I think that's where, oh okay, oh yeah, there's a couple of skaters here, let's see if I could. Oh, and you can see in the distance there's the London Eye. That's our final destination. So we're probably 5-10 minutes away from finishing the live stream. There's not many people here. I think this is the quietest I've ever seen it. There's some people, devoted skaters, who are making the most of it. It's a very public spot to be skating, though. Imagine those people who would like to skate in privacy. It's probably not ideal for them. 180 flip. So, okay. Excellent. So, if you come to London, I think you'll find yourself walking along this very path. It's you get a big bang for buck, lots of things to see in a short space, and also lots of nice places to have food and drink if you decide to do that as well. So the South Bank is a big draw. I tell you, one of the things that I really like about South Bank is during Christmas, a lot of the office Christmas parties, it being in central London, a lot of the offices in central London will have their Christmas parties, and so you'll get these sort of gangs of 30 people all dressed as Santa Claus or Mrs. Santa Claus, all going out and having a drink or five. Right, let's have a bit of a look back. So this will be one of the last, there's not a lot to see there. So there's some interesting buildings there. So I do believe that building there has, I've been on the London Eye a number of years ago. I think that building there has something to do with London's secret services. Right, we're gonna see the Palace of Westminster as well. Westminster, the Parliament, and Westminster Bridge. That'll be part of yes, and Big Ben. So if there is one, it's gotten windy all of a sudden. Sorry about that. So, right ahead of you, there's a great big clock tower, Big Ben, and it's attached to the Houses of Parliament, Westminster. And Westminster Bridge is our means of getting over to the other side. But we're not going to go that far. We're going to stop here at the London Eye. But I'll stop for a moment and give you a good view of London Bridge and Big Ben, and we'll pick things up from here next week. We really appreciate those people who are watching. We really appreciate you just watching and hopefully enjoying our content. We would like to get you involved if you feel like doing that. So do comment and ask questions. And sorry to be so if you're share the content, let us know that you like it by liking, sharing, I'll stop in a moment and we'll get a nice view of Big Ben. For a few years they were doing some major renovations on Big Ben, on the tower and also the bell inside, and the bell is actually Big Ben. It's St. I'm a terrible tour guide. It's St. something or other's tower is the actual thing that people most talk about. So there you go. That's Big Ben and the Houses of Parliament. and that is the London Eye. I think on a day like today you'd get a reasonable view of the winding river. Certainly you'd be able to see more than I've been able to show you in a single shot. So let's go up here. I'll try and get you a little bit of a, hopefully we can get the London Eye in one shot so that you can see what it looks like. Actually, I'm not sure we are. I might have to go a long way back to see that. So if you follow that, I'm not quite sure how much of that you can see, but hopefully you can see quite a lot of it. So thank you for tuning in. We're going to leave things there. We're going to pick things up next week. 10:30 a.m. UTC to go for a walk to Putney in West London. I'm going to say goodbye. Ronald, feel free to end the live stream whenever you like. Thank you very much, people, and we'll see you next week. Please check out our Saturday and Sunday live streams. On Sunday, we're going to be touring central London for the St Patrick's Day Parade. So join us for that if that is interesting, especially if you're interested in central London. You'll get to see the other side of the river, which will be exciting for everyone, I hope. And also some people being festive and Irish. Okay, all right. Thanks everyone. We'll go now.
In the morning light, under sky so gray, I lace up my boots, my mind in disarray. Leave the city's hustle, its frantic pace behind, to find